Yo guys, welcome back. Midnight just dropped and everyone is leveling. But after grinding the campaign once, who wants to repeat the same boring quests forever? I show you in this guide a method that lets you hit max level in a couple of hours by getting tons of gold, so check this out. So after we finished the campaign, we start with our twink in Dornogal. The first thing we do is skip the campaign. We are not making the same mistake twice. I'm absolutely not a fan of questing. The first thing I recommend when you arrived in Silvermoon is to choose a profession. If you don't already have one, I recommend tailoring. But don't worry, you don't have to grind professions or craft items. I'll explain why in a moment. So you want to level up your profession and distribute your points for additional loot. This is important. I'll show you later. If you need help, go to goldgoblin.com. There you will find all professions for Midnight, including a shopping list and guides, so that you can quickly get your points and the items from the auction house that are necessary for this. There you can see exactly what you need to craft and how often without having to search too hard. Here's a little tip, you also get XP for your first craft, so you can even level up a bit in advance. I'll show you this in the fast motion, otherwise it would go beyond the scope of the article. If you're not interested in gold, you can skip the part. As always, the time steps are linked. Now we come to the important part. Invest your points in Fabric Specialist. This will result you receive extra clothes when you kill enemies. So try to skill as many points as possible into this at the beginning. However, the points you receive from single crafting session will suffice for the start. For the next part, a few points in underworldly clothes are also good if you have any left over. Quick bonus XP tip, Darkmoon Faire is up. As Alliance you go to this spot, talk to the NPC and he will port you there for a few copper. It's faster than flying. As a Horde player, go to this location and do the same. You will be ported to the portal and you can go through or just click it and you will arrived. When you arrived, I'll show you two things, but I'll speed this up. Nobody cares about the journey. Once you arrive, talk to this goblin. He will sell you a hat for 10 tokens, which will give you 10% XP buff for last 1 hour. You can now transfer tokens from characters, provided you have any. If not, talk to this panda and buy a ticket booklet. It contains 5 tokens that you can use to ride the carousel. When you ride it on, you stack a buff that does the same thing as the hat. And if your headstone is on CD, you can alternately use the Dalaran headstone, which does not share the same cooldown. As next step, we will go back to Silvermoon and use the portal there. Once there, we use another portal that takes us to Voidstorm. It's located in the location on this map, right here. So now we are flying to a special delve called Shadowguard Point. For those who don't know what delves are, this is basically a one-man dungeon with a companion. I explain exactly why this one in a moment. First we enter delve at level 1. We don't change this, then we chose our companion role. Since I'm DPS, I take a healer, but you can also take a tank or a damage dealer, it doesn't really matter. The grind begins now because we want to pull the entire dungeon. I have a running route for this because as a DPS you have to be fast. I recommend if you can play tank, do it as a tank, but it's also possible as a DPS if you can kite very well. I start on the right and try to run around outside as much as possible. The good thing about this delve is you can do it on your mount. Try to pull as many mobs as possible. Once you have pulled them together, damage is required. Use CDs in your defense. If you die, your 10% buff is gone and you have to get it again. With this method you will get over 750k XP per hour, which will be much more with PvE gear. I still have PvP gear from the old season, so I do much less damage. You can also use potions and food to maximize your damage, which of course increase your XP per hour. When you do the delve for the first time, complete the quest line once to receive a small XP reward when you hand it in. I show you quick where the quest NPC is located. And as you can see, the quest gives over 80k XP, which is pretty good. From now on, proceed as follows. Enter Delve at level 1, kill everything and loot, and as you can see, the mobs drops all sorts of items, including cloths, greens, blues, and all of which are bind on equip. That means you can sell them on the auction house. So this basically makes tons of money. Just selling the grey items to vendors already brings solid gold. With the other items you make serious money. I racked up tons just from cloth on the auction house and highly recommend it to everyone. And for example, this is just from free runs alone. Another tip, delves have different modes that change daily. One of them is there are more mobs on the map, which means that it's even better for grinding and making gold. Just keep an eye on it. When you enter, you recognize it by additional barricades. If it's possible, don't touch them when pulling. It has been shown that you only need to pull about half of the delve, as it's faster and more effective. I also stand on a small save point, where you are less likely to be kicked. Another tip for PvP player, if you're at max level and you want to farm honor quickly, buy a vacuous flask of honor at the auction house. This potion increases the honor you receive by 15% for 1 hour. It's pretty powerful and hardly ever used. In conclusion, I can say this is the best and the easiest method for leveling Twinks, because it took me about 2 hours to level up 5 levels, which is extremely fast. In addition, I find the gold part extremely useful since I'm chronicle poor. The add-on I use to display the XP bar by hours is also linked in the description as the gold guide and the profession page. I hope you enjoy the video and I'll be back soon with more one-shots. See you then.